recently we just had Uranus transfer retrograde back into Taurus on November 8th, and that was around the time that Bitcoin dropped to 99K just a few days before. Uranus can bring major unpredictability, major swings, major volatility. And then now we are heading into Mercury retrograde, which is already happening, and also Jupiter retrograde just happened 2 days after Mercury retrograde. So we have 5 planets retrograde. All right, so we have a lot of energy that is going the other way. This is not a good idea to try to push things forward because we have all this retrograde energy. It's where the planets are basically moving in the opposite direction. It's not a good time to be overly optimistic as Jupiter is retrograding. When planets retrograde, it can signal that the energy of the planet is turning off or having a pause. And so typically Jupiter is very optimistic, very lucky, a lot of fortune, but it is retrograding now. So it's not a time to expect things to just go to the moon. Don't expect things to go back to how they used to be because this is a time to reflect. Retrogrades are times to reflect, to reevaluate, to go inwards, to take it slow. It's a time for letting go of what's no longer working. So there might be specific areas in your life. It would be good to think about it, to ponder, to journal about areas of your life that are no longer working. Maybe people in your life, team members, friends, family that are no longer supportive. And maybe it's time to let them go or say goodbye. It's a time to surrender, to reevaluate, and allow new information to come in. Mercury retrograde is about information. It's about how we think, how we communicate. It's a great time to meditate, to go inwards, to take long walks, to ponder, to reevaluate life and perhaps your crypto portfolio and your strategy and your direction. The tricky thing here is we have Mars that's going to conjunct this Mercury retrograde, and Mars can be known as the malefic planet. It can be intense. It's our drive, it's our energy, our embodiment, our courage. But Mars going over Mercury retrograde, that's can be explosive energy. So this is not a time to get in explosive arguments or arguments over facts, or it's not a time to burn bridges or anything like that. It's time to stay calm. So whatever helps you get your Mars energy out, your drive, whether that's going on a long walk, going to the gym, doing some qigong, swimming. Mars is a fiery planet, so whatever we can do to cool down, cool off, that's very good. Meditation, going inwards, maybe getting out of the house, getting some peace and quiet. Those are things that could really help this Mars energy out. And things will really move forward next year. So we have next year to look forward to really move things forward, but there could be some crazy world events on top of that. So, man, it's going to be a wild ride. Especially, now and through next year. Holy moly. Because, we're getting these planets retrograding, but then, next year they're all going to be going direct again. And Neptune and Saturn are going to go back into Aries, and that'll be a time to really ground our visions and actually start building our dreams and our visions that we've had for a long time. This is the time to make them move forward. Next year, end of January and into February, March, April, those are the times that things are going to really move forward. But like I said, there's probably going to be some very volatile world events. This is pretty wild astrology overall. So we talk a lot about crypto on this channel. Bitcoin dropped to 99K when right before Uranus went back into Taurus. So we get major volatility. Just yesterday, we had a big dump on the daily candle that dumped below the previous day. And so that's actually a big concern. That's actually not looking so good. The good news is Bitcoin is following this yellow line This is the change in global liquidity. Now it has 81% accuracy in the last 60 days. Not bad. And I think it even has, if we even go to Ethereum, I think it has it even, yeah, for the last 180 days, Ethereum has an 89% correlation to this line. So it's also very in tune with Ethereum. So it shows possibly more downside for Ethereum, but then more upside next year. So that's the big optimistic outlook here, is that, you know, possibly more downside for Bitcoin too, heading into December possibly. It's not exactly accurate, give or take a few weeks. So it could be November or December, maybe even January. But then the good news, things are starting to get more optimistic, at least starting mid-December into next year, the end of January perhaps. There is an uptick. It is an overall uptrend now. I was a little worried about this dump here, but then we just got a massive pump. Now, this is the change in global liquidity. Looking out, what is the offset? 77 days. So it's a 77-day offset. I chose that because it has a 73% correlation for the last 90 days. Not so bad. So that is the optimistic outlook heading into next year, which is really interesting. So I'm not personally expecting much more upside. Things were optimistic yesterday, but we just got that massive dump in the last 24 hours. And the problem is, at least for Bitcoin, you know, we had this green candle. It started at 104,000. It got up to, 106. And then the next day we got to 107,500. But then this red candle dumped below the previous day's green candle. And that's an engulfing candle there. It's typically not a great sign. We'll see if we can get up higher today, but so far it's not looking so great. But basically it just looks like a lot of up and down chop, you know, possibly for the rest of November. Another thing I wanted to look at really quick is the altcoins. And I'm going to clean this up. We're going to go on the weekly scale. And this is the altcoins minus the stable coin Tether over Bitcoin. So this is the altcoins versus Bitcoin. And the interesting thing is we have tapped this line here at 0.25. You know, we tapped it back in 2017, 2019, 2020, and we dumped below it in 2021, right when the massive altcoin run started. So this shows us when the biggest altcoin runs happened. We had a big altcoin run beginning of 2021, and it stayed up for a while, and the markets were extremely optimistic, extremely euphoric. Where are we now? We're all the way down here. So that's why the feelings in the market are not so good these days. We are down here. So we are potentially in a similar place, you know, as we were back in like 2019, potentially. And the really interesting thing with that really quick is if we look at the Fed liquidity, this is also the quantitative tightening and quantitative easing. So they were tightening, they were tightening back in 2019, and then they did quantitative easing, and their liquidity started going up, and then we got the massive pump after the COVID year, of course. But you'll see that even right when that was happening, like, altcoins went up a little bit, but not much. And then they actually, when quantitative easing went absolutely gangbusters and we got massive money printing massive debt, altcoins actually went down initially. And then they tried to go up back again, but they actually fell down again. So they pumped a little bit, nothing too exciting. And then they had one correction and an even bigger correction before the massive altcoin run. So A lot of people are, the Fed said that, they could be starting quantitative easing around here, December or January. But even if that starts, we could have something similar to back here, like I was saying, where we could get like one correction. We could even get another. I mean, this could last a while. We could even get like 3 tests of this trend line here before a massive move up. So who knows? I mean, maybe 26 could be a really slow year, possibly. I hate to say it. People could be calling bear market, but then there's still a chance that maybe 2027 is like the major altcoin run. Could be 2026 as well. It's tough to say exactly when. It depends on the macroeconomics and what the Fed decides. But it's really interesting to think about that. What do you guys think in the comments below? Let me know. Okay, I think that is the majority of what I wanted to discuss. I mean, we even look at Bitcoin when quantitative easing started, in 2019 was when it just started. Bitcoin was actually still heading down, tried to get a pump, but then we had the COVID crash. And then even after we got this massive money printing, massive injection of debt into the markets, then Bitcoin just only slowly went up. And it took a while before Bitcoin and crypto were able to fully digest this information. And then they fully went on a massive run when the money printing was already happening for a while, for many, many, many months. So basically, we have to likely remain very, very patient because we haven't even started quantitative easing. Yeah, things could get a little volatile. Things could even get a little bit boring for a long time. Could be many, many months. And perhaps things could start to move forward when these planets start to turn more direct. Perhaps things could move forward with the Fed's decisions or potentially quantitative easing. Things could start to shift, but it's like turning a big, large ship. It can take a lot of time. We got to remain patient. All right, and especially with all these retrogrades, we have to remain extremely patient for the next couple months here. All right, it's going to be slow. So everybody slow down, hold your horses, take your foot off the gas, lower down into the lower gears, and go inwards for a bit and chill out and reflect and rejuvenate and recuperate. Hope that makes sense. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace.